Peace, y'all. It's KRS-ONE, and welcome to the Temple of Hip Hop. Right now, I'm in Durham, North Carolina. Yesterday, we did a show with PD Pablo and Mr. Cheeks. And what a show that was. That was so crazy. Shout out to Chris, the promoter, and everybody from Durham, North Carolina. We had a really good time out there. And I was able to also, hit them with the knowledge, hit them with the wisdom as well. We spit the raw. It was crazy. We also did, we did a couple of shows out here, as a matter of fact, but that ain't my point. My point is that the vibe, the feeling that hip hop brings to you. I always say, you are not just doing hip hop, you are hip hop. And that feeling of being hip hop, sometimes that's all you need. You know what I'm saying? That's really sometimes all you need. Hip hop is enough for us, especially if you live the life. Hip hop is enough. And so, as we are on this, while we travel and so on, while we travel like this and we're in hotels, our lessons are shorter, but we make sure we come with a word for you every Sunday, right around 12 o'clock. This is how we get down, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Those of you that might be just joining us, this is the Temple of Hip Hop. And when I say this is the Temple of Hip Hop, actually the Temple of Hip Hop does its thing in two locations. One is 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx, the birthplace of hip hop itself. That's where we conduct our master classes. Master classes are going down again, June 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Make sure you register. You know what time it is. You know how to do it. Those that don't know, go to thetempleofhiphop.org, the website itself, and you'll see how to register for these master classes. I teach these hip-hop master classes out of 1520 Sedgwick Avenue because, first of all, that's the birthplace of hip-hop, and that's also where you should be birthing your education on hip-hop. Go right to the Mecca. Go right to the birthplace, right to the center, and first take in that vibe. Then go ahead and get the lesson. So that's 23rd, 24th, and 25th of June. Make sure you're there. It's a weekend thing as well. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. One course, too, by the way. Before, the ones we had before, we had a morning and an evening. Now we're just going to do an evening and keep it moving. 3 days, we're cramming it all in. Those that took the course before, you may want to take this one again. And I say may because I'm going over pretty much the same material, but because I'm cramming it into 3 days, it's going to be different. Other things will be discussed within these 3 days, but those that did the 5 days, you pretty much are covered. You know pretty much what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it. But if you want to take the course again to see how that 5-day course becomes a 3-day hardcore course, you may want to come and take the course again with us. So this is what's going down. This is the Temple of Hip Hop. Oh, like I said, so one of our locations is 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. That's where we're at over there, and that's where we usually start our teachings. If, in fact, you want to get more serious with your hip-hop scholarship, you go over to 55 Ludlow Street in Newark, New Jersey. That's where the Temple of Hip Hop actually is. That is our facility where we're training B-boys and B-girls, MCs, graffiti writers, DJs, beatboxers, street fashion, language, knowledge, and entrepreneurial skills. That's where that's going down. That's a more serious class as well. A higher tuition too, by the way. And so you might want to look into that. We don't start classes really until September, but there are going to be our Sunday calls. We're going to be doing them at the Temple in Newark, New Jersey. You can come there and sit in on the calls as we do them live now. We're getting ourselves ready for this and so on. We're training our teachers, smaller courses. In other words, those that are taking the 1520 course, masterclass, they have the opportunity to come on into 55 Ludlow and take the full Temple of Hip Hop course there as well. Even people from Newark, when they say, I want to, take the course, I'll take the masterclass course, even though you could go right to the Temple because you in Newark, you might have to take that trip to the Bronx. and get that vibe first. Get that teaching first. Then bring it back to Newark or wherever your scholarship may lead you. So this is the Temple of Hip Hop. The Temple of Hip Hop is a hip hop preservation ministry, archive, school, and society. This is not really religion, and this is not really science. This is philosophy, the mother of them both. You know, in the beginning, we had to only know what was right from what was wrong, what was real from what was fake, what was cause and what was effect. This is the beginning of philosophy, to know what to do first. What is A? What is B? What is C? What is important? What is valuable? Well, as philosophers, we see hip-hop as valuable. We see hip-hop as our heritage. What is our heritage? It's our inheritance. What is inheritance? It's what your ancestors gave you. And what your ancestors give you, nobody can really take away. It's only you that can ignore it by not listening, not moving in with the character, not being in harmony with the character of your ancestors. You know, in order to claim the king's land or the queen's land, you got to be the offspring of the queen or of the king. You can't just say, yo, I claim da-da-da-da-da-da, and not be of the character. You can't claim divinity, claim you're a child of God, claim that you follow the Christ or whatever, and then your character doesn't match. How many times do we get in arguments in the parking lot of the church? Or better yet, on your way to the church, who are you cutting off on the highway? Who do you have no patience for when they're walking across the street? Do you ignore the veteran begging for money? On your way to church or coming out of church. It's the character that is most important, not whether we memorize words. What is the character? How do your beliefs make you a better person? So that's what we're going to study today. And like I said, this is a short lesson, but a potent one that I think we need to hear today. Turn your gospels, hold on one second, because my gospel went haywire while we were talking. What I want to do is start you at 147, page 147 of the Gospel of Hip Hop. 147, Gospel of Hip Hop. As you can see, this is my traveling gospel because it's brand new. My real gospel is all torn up like yours probably is. And so I'm going to read here, and I want you to see this. We're at page 147, and what we're doing is this is right after you've made the decision to walk a spiritual life. This is right after you made the decision to walk that spiritual life where you're going to give what is called a divine performance. That's what you're going to give now, a divine performance. Now, this is hip-hop spiritual language, so get it right. This is philosophy. You can call it religion. You might even want to call it science, but it's philosophy. Philosophy is the mother of both religion and science and psychology, by the way. Probably biology, well, all that could be in science, to be honest with you. But out of philosophy, out of wanting to know what is real, what is true, what is right, what is wrong, what is cause, what is effect, out of wanting to know that comes religion, comes science. Religion calls it faith. Science calls it theory. Same things. The mother of them both is philosophy, which is the seeking of truth, and not just the lover of truth or the lover of wisdom, but the one whose character respects wisdom enough to pursue it. That's philosophy, not the pursuit of wisdom. Now, of course, that's what's in the dictionary. What is philosophy? The love of wisdom, the pursuit of wisdom. But the one that is pursuing wisdom is the one that doesn't have it. If you already got wisdom, you ain't pursuing it. So right away we see the word philosophy, philosophy, a Greek word, of course. Philo meaning love, Sophie meaning wisdom, love of wisdom, or wisdom lover. Philosophy. But the one who made this word up, the Greek society, they're not the fathers or mothers of philosophy itself. We went over this last week with our showing of Street Life, where we love Greece. Okay, don't get it twisted. Greece is a wonderful place to go to, straight up. But if we're talking truth and we're seeking wisdom, you got to realize that the Greeks were observers of some very wise people that knew what time it was. And the Greeks then called them lovers of wisdom, the philosophers. This is a descriptive term, because these people that you're describing, they're not pursuing wisdom, they got it. Now the observer is the one in pursuit of the wisdom, the one in pursuit of knowledge, the observer. But the one who has it already, that's not a philosopher. That's a straight God. That's just a straight divine being. And most people cringe on that word God. Let's say it together. God. Okay? Most people can't even say the word. Guilt, doubt, all types of stuff clouding their mind. But what we're going to learn today with our gospel of hip hop is that God is like a bloodline. You know, don't get that idea, some man in the sky with a beard, okay? That's nowhere near what we're talking about. If you want to remember what we're talking about when we say God, just think about the force that is guiding our direction. A guidance, something that goes before you, something that knows a little more than you. And keep this in mind from the atheist part, okay? Let me throw my atheism in there. Do we have to know God to be righteous and moral? To be ethical, I should say. Do we have to know God to be ethical? Some people argue yes. There is no ethics and no morals without a concept of divinity. Others argue, yes, mostly atheists, of course, will argue, yes, I could be a good person without God, without this idea of a God. But I invite you to go back to the origination of this idea of God. The idea of God, not whether God exists or not. Okay, because this was Rene Descartes, 17th century philosopher. Look these names up too, by the way. Don't just sit here and listen to me talk. Look up the word atheism and see what that's really all about. I love my atheist brothers and sisters. Look up these words that I'm talking about and really get into it. Don't make judgments on words and people and really don't know what we're talking about. That's not what it is. We as philosophers are seeking truth. So in this, let me go back to the concept of what God really was about. God is an idea. Don't matter whether God is real or not. And like I said, Rene Descartes lays out a mean argument in his argument where he says, oh, cogito ergo sum, or I think, therefore I am, or I doubt, therefore I am. This kind of thinking. In that thought, Rene Descartes talks about the unicorn. And he says, you know, the unicorns don't exist. Okay, or at least we've never seen one. But that doesn't mean that the unicorn idea doesn't exist. And to go further, if the unicorn idea exists, then to the mind, the unicorn exists. Because the mind sees a unicorn in its existence. In the mind's reality, in the mind's environment, the mind can see a unicorn and can even discuss it with another mind that may see. The unicorn don't exist, okay? But you can see the unicorn idea. There's a white horse with a long thing coming out of his head. And I'm saying white horse, that's what I grew up on. Unicorns come in all shades though. But I remember the white horse with the white cone coming out of his head. And this is the unicorn. Okay, the one corn, the unicorn. Okay, this is what that was. And that doesn't exist. What exists is the idea. Now, if you can apply that to God, God don't have to exist. But how does the God idea affect your life? So look at this. The mind can perceive anything, even stuff that don't exist. Okay? The mind can perceive anything. So if the mind can perceive anything, that means for you not to believe in God or on God, believe that there is an intelligence to this universe, to not believe that is a choice. Just like believing it is a choice. Because regardless of whether you believe in God or believe of God, or you don't believe of God or believe in God, either way, you're making a choice. Because God does not have to exist for the God idea to exist. The idea of God is worth more to you than God actually existing. Think about that for a minute. Who cares if God really exists? God don't care whether God exists. God knows that God exists, okay? What games are we playing with our own selves? God don't care whether you think God exists or not. I think God has other things on her mind than us. But let's say for one instance, okay, the God idea becomes real to you. You say, you know what? I'm going to perceive in this unicorn. I'm going to perceive in this made up idea. Now think about that for a minute. What is this idea? The idea don't exist, but what is the idea? Why is it in your head? Why is you being affected by it? How does it affect you? The idea. Here's how the idea affects. Because the idea says that there is more to life than your physical flesh. And all this material stuff you see around me in this room, there is another idea that there is more to life than what you can see with your five senses. There are other realities that you can enter, but you have to get past your senses. Smell, touch, taste, sight, hearing. You got to get past it. Now, some people will say, like, man, I ain't going back. I can't, I don't, I blah, blah, blah. Okay. But you might never understand truly the God idea. What does the God idea suggest? There is another realm that is operating on this realm. There's another realm with another intelligence and possibly hundreds of thousands of other beings. This is the whole God idea, you know. That there's another realm, a divine mind that is so vast and divine that the universe is its physical body. This is God, okay? The earth is one thought of God, and all the creatures in this planet are just different variations of this same consciousness, this same intelligence, this unifier of all life. This is the God idea. Who cares if this being exists or not? You don't want to unite with that? Like, look how real Santa Claus was to you. Some of you that experienced the Santa Claus myth when you were young. If your parents lied to you and told you, hey, there's a guy coming down that chimney, and if you were good, he's going to give you gifts, and if you were bad, you don't get shit, okay? You grow up with that. Oh, yo. Until one day you get old enough and your parents tell you, or you find out somebody reads something to you, and you find out there's no Santa Claus, there's no Easter Bunny, there's no Tooth Fairy. These things you got when you was growing up. But here's the thing, though. Why do parents then tell it to their kids? You know it's a lie. But why you give it to your kid? Because the experience of Santa Claus does something to you. It makes you act right. You want a gift. You want this guy to give you something on this day, and you've been wishing and praying for this thing, and so on. It does teach you about setting goals, correcting your character so that you may achieve something. I mean, there's a whole lot of holes in that Santa Claus theory. And there's psychologists that will probably throwing stuff at this screen right now say, are you crazy? The Easter Bunny is damaging to kids' minds. The Santa Claus is damaging. But I tell you this, just like they say disciplining your child, physically disciplining your child is wrong and now even against the law. But those of us that have children, you know damn well some of these kids need a good ass whipping, straight up. Now, I'm not really with it. I don't beat or hit my kids, but they deserve it. At least, like the idea, you can't think sometimes, be like, you know what? You need your ass kicked. But see, when we were growing up, my generation, the generation before me, we got our asses kicked. And when we grew up, we liked it. I know that sounds crazy to some of y'all who ain't never been through that. But you grow up and you say, man, if my father didn't grab me that day, if my mother didn't knock me up against the wall that day, I don't know where I would be today. I didn't like it then. But now I'm a man, now I'm a woman, now I'm an adult, and I can see. If my father didn't come in the club and drag me out and, or wherever it was, I would not be where I'm at. And I respect my dad for that. I respect my moms for that. I respect my grandma for that. My older brother, my older sister for pulling me off to the side and even having to physically get with me for my own good. We don't even think like that no more. Everybody for themselves. And the government has taken away the strength of families. Let's keep that real too. Took away the strength of families. You can't even discipline your own child anymore. Think about this for a minute. And then think about the state of people. Let's get back to the God idea. So you got this idea that says there is an intelligence in the universe and in nature that loves you. What's wrong with that idea? Forget whether it's true or not. Just the idea of an infinite intelligence loving you. Wow. And you can call on this. I mean, you could be crazy in your own mind with it. But this is a good insanity. If you could go crazy and psych yourself out to believe that an invisible force loves and cares for you, and you can call on this force to do miraculous things in your life, why would you not adopt that idea? The idea is what's real because the mind makes it real. So to believe in God or not believe in God is always a choice. It's always a choice because the mind can perceive anything. So why not perceive God? Why not perceive the loving character? Now, I talked about God as a divine being in nature or an intelligence in nature and in the universe and in you. God. And like I mentioned before, guiding our direction. What is the guiding force of your life? Or do you even have a guiding force? Are you winging it every day? Some are. It's to be a great thing, though, to adopt an idea that gives direction to your life. That's it. See, that's philosophy. And out of that idea, you get religion. Out of the idea, you get science. You get psychology. You get biology. You get all these other ologies searching for truth. Searching for what's real. Searching for the center. The essence. The being. So I preface our teaching with this concept of God, because God does not have to exist for you to benefit from the God idea. The idea of God is infinite goodness. You can benefit from that. The idea of God is infinite goodness and beauty and righteousness and knowledge and love. These ideas are good to grasp and hold. They're healthy. And imagine the beings that first came up with these ideas. Imagine the first one to detect the idea of love. There had to be a first. Somebody, some group or some being first said, they didn't say love. They probably didn't say love. They probably said some other whole different language. Maybe they didn't even speak it at all. Maybe the origination of love was a dance. You don't know what it was. The origination of love was a mark on the face. I mean, we're talking about the original beings, okay? So what is it really going to be? This is the God idea. This is why we turn our Gospels now to page 147. We're reading the beginning of the divine performance. The beginning of the divine performance. And it's not actually the beginning, because the divine performance starts on page 143. The divine performance starts on page 143. And actually, wow, you know what? Because I just glanced at something real quick here, because I'm not even reading this part right here. But this part says, "For it is not enough to read about what spiritual righteousness is. The true hip-hopper," some of you have gotten your certification, "must act out or perform spiritual righteousness in order to experience the peace and power of the spiritual realm. And this requires strength." See, I just saw that right there. "For without spiritual strength or endurance, no spiritual virtues or principles can be achieved." Now, see, that's not what I want to read you, but that's a good start. It's a good start. Here's what I want to read you. Page 147. I'm on paragraph 9. I skipped over the 4 stages or steps that you should take to cleanse yourself and align yourself with divinity. There's 4 steps in the gospel. I'm skipping over that because we already read that, those of us that read the gospel for the last 2 years. I'm on paragraph 9. Let us continue. At an average rap concert, there is usually an opening act or acts followed by a headliner. Attuned hip-hoppers and experienced rap fans alike have learned that great opening acts that have been successful have always shouted praise to the headliner and have always sought to align their performance to that of the headliners. Now, see, this is, those of you that may not attend rap concerts, you'll notice that most of the time when a professional opener comes on stage, they usually shout the headliner so the crowd can scream. They want to get something out the crowd. And they say, "Y'all ready for da-da-da?" "Yeah, but you gonna get me right now." And then you go right into it. And so it says, the attuned hip-hoppers and experienced rap fans alike have learned that great opening acts have been successful have always shouted praise to the headliner and have always sought to align their performance to that of the headliners. The opening act performs with an understanding that the headliner is sure to follow with an even more elaborate performance. It is the headliner who closes the show. Similarly, attuned hip-hoppers know that God is the true headliner in every arena of life. Even if the hip-hopper is a headliner in the world, the attuned hip-hopper remains an opening act to God. You hear that? As an opening act, the attuned hip hopper performs life in spirit, knowing that God will close the show. Whatever the attuned hip hopper does, it is done with the understanding that God will complete whatever has started. When this truth is realized, one's actions will reflect such a realization. Now get that, okay? This is not just about internalizing something and being able to regurgitate it. When you really understand and overstand, I should say, the presence of God in your midst, in your life, or you've adopted the idea of the infinite being in you. When this truth is realized, one's actions will reflect such a revelation. How often do we forget that the hip-hop lived life is a performance, and that imitating the performance of God sets one apart from the world and its troubles? Attuned hip-hoppers live life as a great performance. When we are at work, we are performing. When we are with family, we are performing. Every day and at every moment of the day, we are performing. Even while asleep, there are a variety of performances taking place within one's mind, body, and environment. It is our performances in life that manifest, now get this, it is our performances in life that manifest or form the circumstances of our lives. Get this. Each performance is literally a pre-formed dance or a performance, an action that creates and forms life circumstances. A performance. Your performance is forming your future. Your performance is your performance, and I'm spelling it in this way. It's performance, but your performance, your performance is forming the circumstances of your life. It's a preform. To perform is to create a preform. Therefore, attuned hip-hoppers align their performances to God's performance, remaining protected, prosperous, and at peace, in harmony with the will of God in their lives continuously. Why would you not adopt that idea as an idea? Okay? For when God's personality is a habit in your life, victory over the streets is inevitable and constant. And when God is enough for you, peace shall always be with you. This performance ensures one's longevity as an MC, even as an MC, DJ, graffiti writer, etc. Rap fans are trapped in the lore of lyrical freestyling, while attuned hip-hoppers enjoy a life that is free. Rap fans focus only upon the sales and performances of the marketplace, while attuned hip-hoppers focus upon the performance of their God and receive all things freely. To perform correctly is to live and act totally aware of your life and actions. This is what it means to live. Let me say it again. To perform correctly, to preform correctly, is to live and act totally aware of your life and your actions. The arena is your environment. The stage represents your level of mentality, and the audience is the world. Do you see it? Do you see it? Do you see the arena, the stage, the audience? These are all spiritual terms. Listen to this. To perform correctly is to live and act totally aware of your life and actions. The arena is your environment. The stage represents your level of mentality. What stage of mentality are you at? And the audience is the whole world. The show is an act of one or more divine performances. That's your show. You got 18 different shows you can give. Therefore, give a good show. As we perform throughout life, we should be drawing the applause of God. Hip-hoppers are advised to perform the following. And then we go into perform God, perform listening. Actually, I'm going too fast. I'm doing it out my head. Perform listening. I'm going to go through it. Perform study. These are all divine performances. Perform discipline. You see? Perform it. Don't just try to reach it. Perform it. Perform forgiveness. Perform patience. These are the virtues. These ideas help your life. Patience don't have to be real. Forgiveness doesn't have to be true or real. But the idea of forgiveness, the idea of patience helps you. Perform charity. Perform love. Perform faith. You see these principles? When these are regular habits in your life, man, I'm telling you, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Perform overstanding. Perform truth. Perform skill. Perform intelligence. Perform your intelligence. What is intelligence? Understanding. Perform communication. Perform it. Don't just communicate. Rock your communication. Perform it. Bring it out. Sing your song. Perform responsibility. You know that's real. Perform action. Perform prayer. Perform your prayer. Come on now. Come on now. And this is it right here. Finally, we look at perform hip hop, which is the 18th performance. Perform hip hop. And you notice that hip hop, the idea of performing hip hop is right along with performing faith, performing patience, performing charity, performing overstanding, performing love. These things are the attributes of divinity. It's not just love. It's not just forgiveness or understanding or overstanding, I should say. It's not just that. It is that if you can adopt these ideas, you are adopting the character of the first gods. Now, most people are not interested in becoming God or aligning themselves with divinity, so this is not for you. But for those of us that thirst for God and thirst for the character of God, this is for you. God does not have to be real for you to adopt the God idea. The God idea is what is real. The God idea is what benefits your life. If God was to show up right now God shows up. Boom, God showed up in the room. God still would not benefit me if I did not understand that it was God. I still got to have an idea of God in this room for me to even benefit in some way. Even just to communicate with God, I got to have the God idea. And most people don't have the God idea, the God thinking, or should I say, the Christ consciousness. Most people don't have that. And I don't say that to put nobody down. You know we ain't talking that. But let's be real with ourselves. You see people every day that are hollow. Nothing in them. Nothing in their soul, nothing in their mind. They just drifting from day to day to day. Something hits you in the left, you going right. Something hits you in the right, you going left. Something smash you on the ground, you going down. Something punch you up, you going up. And it's always the last thing. What are you doing with your life? The last punch I got? What you doing with your life? The last job I had? Whether you're working it or you got fired. What you doing with your life? The last school I went to? When do you grab hold of your own life and start feeding your life life-saving ideas. Stop worrying if somebody's real or not, or true or not. Does the idea help you? This is the point. Does the idea help you? Knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone. Knowledge reigns supreme. I hope my name is a help. That's all I can do. I hope that when you say KRS-ONE, they say, what is that, KRS-ONE? And those that know will say, yo, that's knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone. So now you analyze that knowledge reigning supreme over nearly everyone. Knowledge? Wow. So knowledge does reign supreme. Yeah, KRS is the headliner. In hip-hop, there's culture. No problem. I enjoy that. Actually, I don't. Because even at North Carolina, I'm the headliner, and my time got cut. Straight up and down. Pablo, Petey, he ripped it down. First of all, he's from North Carolina, and we was like, North Carolina, throw your hands up. I was like, yo, I got to get my MC skills up right now because North Carolina was up and lit, okay? He had him up, straight MCing, Mike ripping him, okay? This is what it was. And we happen to be in North Carolina. It's like going on, it's like KRS going on before you in the South Bronx. And you like, this dude got the reggae South Bronx. And you got like, what are we doing? Well, we in North Carolina, Petey Pablo came straight with it. All type of other hits. But of course, when that towel came out, okay, North Carolina, throw your hands up. What? It got wild out there. And you got to be ready. I'm headlining. I'm like, damn, look at this. This dude is killing them right now. We had to get out there with our A game. Okay, A game. Had to go out there. Oh, man, it was a wonderful thing. Shout out to Petey Pablo. That was a really good performance. And Mr. Cheeks, of course. And then before Pablo, Cheeks ripped. Yo, this dude, let me run it. Down the line. We are. Dinner. My name, oh. Let me, yo, that shit was crazy. Okay? Crazy. Everybody knew what time it was. Everybody singing the lyrics. It was on. I mention this because first of all, brothers up there like that, we was all just loving on each other too. It was all love. It was all great. It was masters at work, really. But the point is that, you know, the people out there, we all came with our different things. Cheeks got you up. Pablo got you up. KRS came. I closed the night. What was I talking about? Headlining. My time got cut. Pablo went over. Everybody went over. So I get my time cut as a headliner, okay? But this is the point, though. And even though my time was squeezed, I squeezed them straight up and down. They still got it, okay? But this is the responsibility of the headliner. Yeah, you the headliner. Sure, you might even be getting the most dough. But when it comes time to being in front of the people, you don't want your time cut. Because it ain't about the money, it ain't about the headliner position at that point. You want to get with the crowd. You want to get with the crowd. And keep in mind, every act that went on shouted me out. Straight up, every act that was opening before me was like, y'all ready for KRS? The teacher coming out here. And then they start hammering them. This is our culture. And our culture teaches us things about life. All cultures do if you're paying attention. But our culture teaches you something about life. It teaches you something about character. Before I close this out, let me remind you that August 10th, we're having a vigil at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx at about 11 o'clock at night. Temple of Hip Hop and the Tenets at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. We're going to meet at about 11:30, 11:45, and bring in the 12 o'clock. August 11th, 2023. We're going to bring in the 12 o'clock at 1520. That will be the official 50th anniversary of hip-hop at 1520, where we get the August 11th, 1973 date. We're going to go back to the original place, wait till 12 o'clock, pop the champagne, bring in August 11th, actually in prayer and meditation and affirmation, I should say. Still well, not only candles, lights, incense, and the champagne, possibly some wine, all of that will be popped in celebration of us making it to the 50th year. And we're going to bring it in August 10th at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. August 11th, we're doing, the opening of 1520 Sedgwick Avenue begins. We're leaving it as a sacred space. Just so you guys know, you heard me talk about putting an exhibit into 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. We're still doing that. But we've now had about 3 or 4 tenants meetings, and the tenants, they're excited, but they have their own concerns with the building. The building needs restoration. You know, I talked to us about this, about starting a crowdfunding for 1520 Sedgwick Avenue and all of our related programs, really, but mostly the restoration of 1520. The birthplace of hip hop is run down. We need some help. So August 11th, we open our exhibit. It's RSVP. You know what it is. We get ready to launch a new website called hiphop50years.com to get in. You can also go to birthplaceofhiphop.nyc. You can see some stuff up there right now. And we're beautifying the front. Excuse me. We're beautifying the front of 1520 Sedgwick Avenue as well as inside. But we want to give people a chance before we, rip down walls and change stuff. We want to give people a chance to see how it originally was. And we just came up with this too, by the way, because we're taking our own money and meeting our own people to beautify the place and do our thing like that. But at least we're kicking it off in that way. But as you talk, like I said, as you talk to the tenants, you realize that it's more than just an exhibit. There's the preserving of a certain soul. There's the preserving of a certain vibration, really, that's there. And before we turn it into an exhibit space, where we can do it any time, the preservation of what was originally there when Kool Herc was there seems to be a little more important right now. So we're going to be moving on that. You're going to hear me talking more about this, even as we talk to the tenants, even as we get ourselves together like that. So that's August 11th. The exhibit opens up. August 12th, we're going to be at Cedar Park. This is the official 50th anniversary of hip-hop. I know that there are others that are claiming to be the 50th anniversary of hip-hop celebration. We commend them. We even send our support to everybody who's doing their thing. But let us be clear. Hip-hop starts at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx, okay? When Kool Herc's parties got too big for Sedgwick Ave for 1520, they spilled out onto the 1600 Playground Park and then moved down the block to Cedar Park. Cedar Park is one of the birthplaces of hip-hop to the world. We enjoyed it at 1520 and at 1600, but when it got to Cedar Park, that's when everybody started getting down. So if you're going to celebrate hip-hop's 50th anniversary, you got to be at 1520 Sedgwick, where we get the date from. And then you got to be at Cedar Park. You got to be in the park where Herc was, where everybody was really DJing and got a story about Cedar Park and doing their thing. The Cold Crush, Tony Tone, all types of, I can't even run down all these names, but everybody was in that park doing their thing. Cedar Park, C-E-D-A-R, Park, is still there, still holds the legacy. The vibration is still there. They tried again outside in Cedar Park. Power from a streetlight made the place dark. The streetlight is still there. So August 12th, you got no place else to go if you hip hop. August 12th, you at Cedar Park. And you should come dressed to impress. We're doing a fashion show there as well, and you should come dressed the part. Come with your graffiti jean jacket. Come with the graph going down the side of your leg. Come with the teardrop pants and the Lee jeans and fat shoelaces and Kango hats, and come on, come with it. The gold cable chain. Take us back. Take us back. Everybody in the house should be dressed according to hip hop. Adidas jumpsuits, Fila suit, full Fila. Come on now. You know how we used to get down. Make sure you show up in the same way. That's August 12th. And of course, every MC will be in the house. Even those that are playing other places, they're going to come to Cedar Park because it's ethical, because it's real, because this is where hip hop actually is. Now, everybody's throwing their own thing, no doubt. The mayor of New York is throwing something. Other people got stuff going on. You know what it is. But like I said, hip hop don't start nowhere else in New York but in the Bronx at Cedar Park. 1520, of course, 1600, but Cedar Park. This is where the jams went down. And that's where we're going to be. Let me also remind you that hip hop begins as a free park jam. Now, like I said, this is the ethical part. If we're going to celebrate hip hop's 50th anniversary, why every time we got to charge? We getting money all year off this anniversary. You mean to tell me the day that hip hop actually begins, we can't give something back to the people? Well, we can. August 11th is a Friday. That's not a good time for the Bronx. A good time for the Bronx is Saturday. Everybody's off. You out. Saturday is the 12th. That's why our date is on the 12th. Because we're doing this for the Bronx. We're doing this for the people of the Bronx. We're doing this for really for hip hop, but we're doing this for the people of the Bronx. For hip hop, the stage is open for you to give your thanks. Come with your performance. Come with your poetry. Come with your breaking moves. Come with your black book. Come with your art. Come with hip hop. August 12th, 2023. That's where we gonna be, Cedar Park. Then the next day, August 13th, we're at, well, actually, I was thinking about Sedgwick Avenue. We're still on Sedgwick Avenue, but we're at Bronx Community College. Because even though we're jamming and you know, getting our art off, at some point on this weekend, we need to sit down and discuss those 50 years. What we did right, what we did wrong, how we need to move forward. We need to hail up the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. We need to talk about hip hop as culture and bring up its legal documentation. We're going to do that at Bronx Community College. We're also launching at Bronx Community College Authentic Hip Hop course, an authentic hip hop course at Bronx Community College. You don't want to miss this. So that's August 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. We're going to be live the whole weekend. Of course, the Temple of Hip Hop is live as well. 55 Ludlow going to have its own deal going on as well. So stay tuned for that as well, because we go further on with the Temple. We go further on all the way to Hip Hop History Month in November. So we're going to be teaching out the Temple all through the summer, going right up to Hip Hop History Month in November. So this is it, y'all. Of course, there's more to discuss, but I'll leave it at that for right now. I hope you got this lesson. What's the lesson? The lesson today is that the ideas that you adopt are more important than whether these ideas are true, real, or real, or not, or, you know, a fact or not. The truth is that real is based on the mind, not on the five senses. You can look in the dictionary, and what do they say? Real is based on the five senses. But what's interpreting the five senses? Your mind. So if the mind can perceive it, you can believe it. even if it's not real. Even if it's not real. Think about the ancient Africans that came up with the God idea. The God idea. Think about the Africans that came up with the devil idea. God and the devil originate in Africa, you know. Think about the mind, think about the character of these beings that can say there is a hate that is so deep that we call it the devil. There is a mischievousness, a sabotager, a hateful being, a deceiver and a liar, a murderer and a thief. There had to be people like that walking around for you to describe them, to have an idea of this. And think about this if you really want to go with ideas, because maybe, look at this. What if the devil idea did not exist when it was first thought of? But because you thought of it, people started acting it out. Same thing with God. Say God didn't exist. But because of the idea, people started to act it out. The one who comes up with the God idea and also the devil idea, even the human idea, these are the minds of the gods. Those are the true gods. Those that can think on this level. Those that can make ideas reality. That's God. Or that has always been the attributes of God. To make an idea a reality. To bring what's in your mind out into the physical world. And the first way to do that, the first practice of that, is to take an idea like love and act it out. Take an idea like faith. These things don't exist in the real world. Charity is a word. It's an idea. But when you act out charity, somebody gets fed in the real world. So imagine if you act out God. Somebody gonna live forever in the real world. This is the Temple of Hip Hop. I am the teacher, KRS-ONE. I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.
Here's a little something you can ponder in your mind. Something that has never been explored along these lines. Paint a mental picture of the guns you can find. And I'll show you why we so fascinated with the 9. The reason that we like it doesn't lie in the design. The secret of our adoration lies behind the 9, the number. It has a special meaning that's divine. A spiritual significance that needs to be defined. Man's relationship with the number 9 is odd. It has its beginnings and its origins in God. Here is an example that I'm giving to you first. Consider there are 9 planets in the universe. Mercury, Venus, Earth, then the Mars. Plus the other 5 planets rest among the stars. They're all heavenly bodies, but herein lies the wisdom. Consider that your heavenly body has 9 systems. A planet for each system. A system for each planet. This seems to be a symbolism that we take for granted. Circulatory, reproductive, skeletal, and nervous. Muscular and endocrine to others. Go research it. And then just prepare. The universe is 999 times 999 times squared. There's a little science from the time dropped right from the mind of the sign. Number 9. 9 represents birth, completion. That's right. All. Take notice how the 9th month is the start of fall. It's the 3rd out of 4 seasons, so peep what you find, that the 3 for the season is the square root of 9. Bullets from the 9mm keep on gunning. My mother Ty said that 9 is the number of the woman. So look closely at the word feminine, and you will find, if you break it down right, that it's really fem in 9. The woman in 9. And that's just a segment. Because a 9 looks like the bottom half of a woman when she's pregnant. So peep how it takes a 9 months to have a baby. Approximately 270 days she carries her seed. And that math is divine. Because the 2 plus the 7 plus the 0 equals 9. A man, when he marries a woman, the band is placed on the woman's ninth finger on her hand. Surprising? Here is something a little more enticing. Retailers use a 9 in marketing and advertising. Pricing: a car is $20,099. Gum is $79. Candy is 99 cents. A gallon of gas, $3.99. They do this because they know the attractiveness behind 9. It always multiplies back to 9. Use any number with a 9, you can find this is true. 9 times 2 is 18. And 1 plus the 8 equals 9. Know what I mean? 9 times 8. See, that's 72. The 7 plus the 2 is 9. This you can do. With 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. Even 9 times 9, 10, or 11. 360 degrees you will find that the 3 plus the 6 plus the 0 equals 9. Got myself a Uber.